delivering fascinating subjects, interesting talk, and boobs and fart jokes. AD on iHeartRadio.
Let's go, talking that mess, better act like you know. Let's go tonight, walk away, punk, yeah, bitch. That's right, I know this. You're nothing but a punk, bitch. You're nothing but a punk, bitch. So walk away, yeah.
So I want to dive into the whole ISIS, ISIL, whatever the hell they're calling themselves at the moment situation in just a little bit. Right now, though, real quick, let's finish up the news. Funkhouser, what else is going on in the world?
Well, Michael Sam is in the news again. He's seems to be a good fit for the Cowboys.
Yeah. Not so much with the Rams. Insert your own highly obvious piece of humor regarding his sexual preferences and Rams or getting rammed, and then take on board the fact that he's now been not drafted because the draft is over, but he's now been signed by the Cowboys. Not necessarily the Dallas Cowboys. I think the Brokeback Mountain ones. What else?
Yeehaw.
Yeah.
Chick-fil-A will sell chicken and waffles with maple syrup baked inside.
It's their way of hating your heart almost as much as they hate gay people. What else?
A woman in England found a dead mouse in her cereal box.
Even worse, in her other cereal box, she found grape nuts. Ew. Do you ever eat grape nuts?
Never once. I had corn pops last night as a dessert because
corn pops are good.
Gaining weight. I'm trying to be a fat guy.
You're like, wow, you're just like, okay, I've got the chick, we're cohabiting. Now if I can just let my body go to hell, we're almost going to be complete as a couple.
Yeah, I figure, if I just claim the fact that I'm trying to do it, then it'll be, easier to cope the fact that I'm getting fat. And
I think about this
at 11 o'clock at night.
I think about this all the time. Jessica Simpson recently said she knows her husband, who is like this know-nothing bozo with no money from Nowheresville. She said she knows he loves her because he's loved her at every stage of her body, where she's been a little rotund and where she's been ripped and toned and lean. And here's the thing. He was a broke-ass nobody, and you come with the attractive addition of gazillions of dollars. But chicks have this thing, like fat Jessica Simpson, still hot. Her cans got bigger, and, she was never that disgusting of a wide load to where you'd have to, slap it and ride the wave in or something like that. She was, she kept it in what I would call an acceptable range. Sort of like, 2 standard deviations away from the mean. She fell into that category. It was okay for her to be as rotund as she was, and it still kind of worked for her. And then she lost the weight and looked hot too. Women have these fluctuations in body weight, and the vast majority of them can still look good. We talked about this in the past. Drew Barrymore being the example I always bring up. Looked good when she was a thin little waif, looked really awesome when she'd put on a few pounds and was juggy and wonderful in the Charlie's Angels movies. Like, guys don't have that benefit. Like, at no point do chicks go, oh yeah, you really look great with a beer gut and man boobs. I'm so ready to get up and I'm so ready to get up on that. Let me slap it and ride the wave. And it doesn't work for guys. Chicks have it so easy. So I support your eating of delicious dessert cereal at night and your putting on of weight. And I think that your significant other should find a way to find that attractive, when it comes to equality and stuff.
Yes, I agree.
That's what I think. Anyways, yeah, a woman in England found a dead mouse in her cereal box. And the box was labeled Mice Krispies. The whole day's been leading up to that. I really got nothing after that. What else?
The average Facebook user takes 17 hours to change their relationship status after a breakup.
Some women never announce it. They just post that they're listening to Coldplay, and they let the cat photos do the rest of the work for them. Continue.
President Obama has promised to degrade and destroy ISIS.
What's he gonna do? pretend ISIS is the American economy. Nah, see what I did there? It's funny because I'm broke. Oh,
Me
God.
too.
What else?
President Obama also said the United States will build a coalition to destroy ISIS.
Oh, well, in that case, thank you in advance, Estonia and Uzbekistan. Here's the thing about what's going on in the Middle East. A lot of people, like we were talking about earlier in the show, are saying, hey, we're America. We have the American military. We pay all the taxes toward it. Therefore, the appropriate response to this situation where war has been declared on us is to go bomb the bejesus out of them. Turn sand into glass. Use that American military might to wipe the slate clean. And that is tempting. And it is the American knee-jerk reaction in this particular situation. But don't you kind of sort of feel that? All right, let's look at the history of the whole thing. Getting rid of Gaddafi in Libya for democracy, note the sarcastic air quotes around the word democracy, looking like a bigger and bigger mistake as every day passes. Because, well, Islamic extremists, they took control of the U.S. Embassy at the residential compound in Tripoli. They're throwing pool parties there now. Yeah. Back in July, the State Department evacuated staff from the country, saying it would only be temporary. Well, like I said, they're throwing pool parties at our embassy now. This is going to reinvigorate debate in the U.S. over the role that we have in Libya. But Gaddafi, albeit not a nice guy, was kind of keeping a lid on Islamic insurgents. When you have crazy factions like ISIS or ISIL or whatever they're calling themselves this week, these hideous dictators like Gaddafi that have little to no regard for human life and are weird and crazy and just out to lunch in weird, crazy, scary ways, but are kind of like compliant with us. We're just like, no, we must dispose of them and give them democracy because that's what they want. No. We helped dispose of dictators that were keeping radicals in check, ultimately allowing those radicals to flourish by getting rid of Gaddafi, who, not a nice guy, not a good guy, but a compliant guy, a guy who is scared enough. I think, the thing that knocked Gaddafi in line, I don't know if you remember this, but his daughter was killed in a strike that was meant to get him. And when his daughter was killed, he kind of sort of went, okay, clearly they're not playing around. For the sake of my own survival, I'm going to start, at least on the surface of things, being a little bit more compliant and playing ball with America. And yes, horrible, hideous dictator, but also over there, not our problem. It's like the archaic Monroe Doctrine from the 70s that said we're supposed to be the police force of the entire world. We got to go get rid of Gaddafi for democracy. Didn't really think that one through. Getting rid of Gaddafi for democracy that people in that region don't seem that hot to adopt, or if they do adopt it, it's going to be a long and arduous haul. All that did was make room for a militant Islamic faction hell-bent on destroying us to kind of sort of rise to power. That's not okay. Oh, and by the way, when I refer to them as a radical Islamic faction, ISIS, ISIL, whatever you want to call them, I mean no disrespect to people of Muslim faith. I don't think for one tiny second that religion really plays into this. I think religion has become an easy tool with which folks like al-Baghdadi manages to manipulate people. It's about money and power. And when you have a system of brainwashing that allows people to believe that by doing hideous and horrendous things in the name of God, you're going to get into heaven, well, that's a very powerful tool. Here, it's absolutely unbelievably reproachable that pastors can go, if you vote for this guy, that's what God would want. And your vote for this political candidate or party is going to help you get into heaven. Morally repugnant in every single way, but just a tiny patch on the situation that happens with this faction, which, make no mistake, the foot soldiers may believe it's about religion. They might believe that they're securing their 72 virgins or whatever it is that they've been fed after suicide bombing something, after being willing to give their life fighting for ISIS, ISIL, whatever you want to call it. Yeah, no, it's about money and power. And the guy in charge is... He is to the Muslim religion what a piece of bacon is to Judaism. The two things are not connected. But the U.S. hasn't really come up with or had a viable strategy to deal with Islamic terrorists for the past 15 years or so. If we had one, the amount and level of violence wouldn't be growing at the moment. We're at war with ISIS. They're at war with us. The problem is that they're not an organized group that can be defeated in terms of negotiated surrender with us going in and turning sand to glass, bombing the bejesus out of them, wiping the slate clean, and starting over like we did with Hiroshima and Nagasaki. No, it's not the same level playing field. And there's money in war. I'm not going to sound like a conspiracy theorist here, but the military-industrial complex, their game is violence and war and limited conflict. It's kind of sort of another group of critics making nonsensical statements from the cheap seats, if you ask me. And these are the same individuals that said, hey, Bush, the intervention in Iraq and Afghanistan, that's going to go great. We're going to, bomb them until they want democracy. No. Instead, I propose we stay home. These terrorist factions are recruiting people as young as 13, 14 over the internet, from mosques. They're very insidious about the way they do it. Families say shame has been brought onto them. They had no idea their son, daughter, insert whatever child you want here, was going to get involved with something like this, yet they are, and they're dying for ISIS. They're dying for ISIL. So in a situation where they are recruiting children, and we are regularly letting children walk across our borders and offering them security and amnesty, giving opportunities for terrorists to commit the kind of terror that they've been doing so far from afar here on our home soil, I say we stay home. We be the best America we can be. We seal up our borders. We don't give visas to people that harbor terrorists. And we look after what's going on in our own backyard and let those folks destroy each other as they see fit.